Welcome to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook at Sharlot Hall Museum in Prescott, Arizona. My guest this week is my friend Dennis Gallagher, the president and CEO of the Western Heritage Center in Prescott, Arizona. Dennis, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Stuart. I appreciate you invited me to be on the show.
Well, Dennis, it's actually, we've got a little snow flying out here in Prescott today, and we're finally glad to get a little of winter, even though it's after March 1st. We'll take it, won't we?
Yeah, it's badly needed, so we can take all they give us.
Well, Dennis, did you grow up where it snowed regularly, or did you grow up in the desert?
I grew up in Mesa down in the desert, so very seldom saw any snow. But we did see snow a couple times in Mesa during my life there.
So, was your family originally from Arizona, Dennis, or did your parents move to Arizona?
I was born in Danville, Illinois, but my dad was tired of farming, so we moved out here when I was very young. So we came out here in '56, and so I lived down there most of my life until we moved up here in 2007 full time. But I worked for Motorola, and they put me through ASU. Worked for Motorola for 16 years, I think, and then I worked for a Dutch company and a couple of German companies. But I was always based in Arizona, and just had to travel quite a bit for a number of years.
And would you consider yourself a computer scientist, or were you in sales? What interested you when you were going through high school and when you went to college? How did you get into working in the electronics and computer industry?
Funny story. Well, not actually funny, but yeah, I wanted to be an architect when I was in high school and going into college, but I ended up, let's see, I think what happened was I was going to school at ASU, and the professor there took a tour at Motorola, and when he came back, he knew that I was very young and married and had a child, and so he asked me if I wanted to interview at Motorola for a job, and so I did, and it became my career. I was started out at Motorola in the process side, wafer processing and so forth. Worked myself up to engineering manager. And then when I left Motorola after 16 years, I went to work for a Dutch company that we started up our headquarters in Tempe, and I was number 4 employee. So from then on, I was on the equipment side, either in applications engineering or technical sales, a variety of positions, both regionally, nationally. And so, yeah, it was a interesting career. It actually wouldn't have been my first choice, but it worked out great. I was able to provide well for my family, and I was there through my career. And then when I was able to retire, my wife and I moved to Prescott. She had been with Mesa Schools for 37 years, I'm sorry. So we were able to move up to Prescott. At the time, I was using a foundry up here for bronze sculpture that I had started after I was 50. So everything worked out well, and we just loved Prescott. We had more going on, more friends up here than we did down the valley in a very short period of time. So we never looked back.
Well, it sounds like quite a career, Dennis. And along the way, did you have any teachers in high school or college that inspired your interest in Arizona history or history in general?
No, not really. I mean, I had obviously I took history in high school, and loved it, but nothing really connected until I moved. Well, we started going to Western events back probably when I was in my 40s, and we started going to Western events, music, art shows. We would go to the Martin Murphy Westfest programs up in Colorado, which were huge events. Got to meet Western artists, Western musicians, historians, and so then after we moved up here, or actually before we moved up here, I was invited to be on the board of the Phippen Museum because I was showing my Western art at the Memorial Day show way back 2005 or 4, I think. And somebody that was on the board at the Phippen asked me if I'd be interested in joining the board there. And I was still living at the Valley, so I commuted up here for about a year to their board meetings. And then when we moved up here, I continued to be on the board for another 7 years or so. And obviously, I met a lot of Western artists and got more involved with the community and more involved getting to know historians and so forth. And, I actually wanted to get a remote location downtown for promoting the museum at that time, and didn't work out. So I just thought about, why promote one organization? Why not promote everybody, every museum and every organization that wants to preserve our history? So that's how the idea came about back in probably 2010 or so. And then, it's been a long road since then, but it actually came into fruition around 2000, late 2018, early 2019. And now we've had the center open for almost 6 years now.
Yeah, it's a great story. And Dennis, we're going to take a quick break here to thank our sponsors. When we get back, before we talk about the Western Heritage Center, I want to talk a little bit about your decision to start working as a bronze artist and who inspired you to become a bronze artist. We'll be right back with Dennis Gallagher on Arizona Roundup. Since 2007, Pinion Painting has been transforming homes and businesses with over 40 years of firsthand experience. They bring superior craftsmanship and an eye for detail to every project, making your vision a reality, hassle-free. Your time is precious. Trust Pinion Painting to get it right the first time. Visit Pinion Painting today and let them transform your space. On the web at pinionpainting.com. That's pinionpainting.com. This is Stuart Rosebrook at Arizona Roundup at Sharlot Hall Museum in Prescott, Arizona, and my special guest today is my friend Dennis Gallagher. And Dennis, before the break, we were talking a little bit about the beginnings of the Western Heritage Center, and one of the reasons you started coming up to Prescott is that you were showing your bronze work, your Western bronze work at a show up here. I don't know if it was on the plaza or in a gallery, but let's talk a little bit about how this stretch here from your work for years as an engineer for Motorola and with Philips, and you traveled the world and the country, but down deep inside of you was this creative side. So tell us how you broke it to Marianne, your wonderful wife, and your family that you were going to begin working as an artist while still working in the computer industry. How did you make that transition or add that creative side to your everyday life?
Yeah, that's a strange one. Left brain, right brain. Actually, I was about 50 years old. And like I mentioned, we'd been going to a lot of Western art shows and a variety of Western events. And I'd met some Western artists that couple of them that were female, one in Sedona and one up in Colorado. And I told them I was interested, and they pretty much told me to get it in gear and take some classes and try it. So I took a class down in at Scottsdale Art School from one of the Caballeros of America. And after I took that, I just started on my own. And I did this for about 10 years. Let's see, over 10 years. But anyway, I did a variety of shows down the valley and had my work in a couple of galleries down there. And then came up here and had my work in Black Arrow down on Burley for quite a few years. And so anyway, there was a number of foundries up here at that time. Now they're down to like 2 full-time galleries in the Prescott area. Are not galleries, but foundries. So anyway, I'm still doing some limited editions, but I'm not, since the center opened, I haven't had time to do that. But I started out, it was just an expensive hobby originally when I was 50 or early 50s. And it was an interesting time because I was traveling quite a bit. So I was just doing this a little bit on my spare time, and developed into a nice thing. I've sent some sculptures to some European countries and around the U.S. But I wasn't a prolific sculptor like Bill Neviker or John Coleman. Those guys are just incredible artists, and I never compared myself to those individuals.
So were they, who would you say were some of your early inspiration in artwork?
I think, like I mentioned, Bill Neviker and a couple ladies. I'm trying to think of their names, over one in Sedona and one in Colorado. But after I got up here, it's, really Bill Neviker and John Coleman and some of these Caballeros from America up here that are such inspirations.
Well, I think it's probably an area that allowed you to begin, maybe making this transition from working in the computer industry into the Western heritage side of things. And so you were on the board at the FIPPIN, and you had this idea and this vision to build a visitor center down on Montezuma, also known as Whiskey Row, on the plaza in Prescott, that would tell the story of the Prescott area, but also be a place where nonprofits that support and promote Western history and our Yavapai County and Prescott history all in one place. So when did you start putting together the team that would lead to the Western Heritage Center opening?
Well, 2011, I formed a board of 6 people. 2012, we got our 501c3 designation, and then we one of my first goals was to get this scholarship for young students going. And so 2013, we had our first banquet to raise some funds, and that was we had about 90 people, and I think I knew everybody there. A lot of great supporters. And then 2014, we had enough money for one scholarship, $2,000. And then after that, we started doing 2 scholarships a year. And then the last few years, we've had 3, 4, 5. This last year, we've had 5 scholarships at $2,000 each. So all total now, we've done about $54,000 worth of scholarships for these incredible young adults that a lot of them are homeschooled. They just hardworking, get up sunrise, take care of their animals. They're in either FFA, rodeo, We've had some Western musicians. We've tried to get some Western artists and literature.
And what's the name of this scholarship, Dennis?
It's the Heritage Keeper Scholarship, Western Heritage Keeper Scholarships.
So each year, working with the board of directors of the Western Heritage Center of Prescott and the foundation, money is raised annually. And as you said, just recently, the foundation gave out 5 scholarships to high school and or college age students here in the area in Prescott.
Yeah, I think one of them was already in college, a freshman, but primarily high school. And this year we had the event at the Hacienda, and it was specifically designed for the scholarship students and their families and our supporters. Right. So it was really a great event.
Well, I had the chance to attend as well, and it was a beautiful event to see the big smiles on those young people and their parents and their grandparents and multi-generations standing with almost every one of those young people there that night. And they were we're very proud at Western Heritage Center to be able to give out those scholarships. It really was remarkable. And go ahead.
Well, I was going to say they loved it, and I appreciate you attending because it means a lot to us.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here, Dennis, and thank our sponsors. We're going to be right back, and we're going to talk about the Western Heritage Center and its first few years, and learn more about what's happening there right now. Since 1995, Helken & Horn Ad Agency has helped local businesses stand out and succeed. From print and radio to websites and social media, their talented team crafts your brand's message and offers a plan to get it out into the community. Want results backed by 30 years of experience? Visit azadagency.com today. That's azadagency.com today. Helken & Horn, where their slogan is "Be Known." Welcome back to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook at Sharlot Hall Museum. My guest today is Dennis Gallagher, the president and CEO and founder of the Western Heritage Center, which can be found down on Montezuma on Whiskey Row across from the Yavapai County Courthouse and the Courthouse Plaza. And Dennis, how many visitors are coming through the front door these days at the Western Heritage Center?
Well, for the last couple of years, we've had over 70,000 per year. We have a people counter at the front door, and it's pretty accurate. Obviously, we have to cut the number in half because people always have to leave. And then we subtract the number of volunteers and board members that are there during the day doing their shifts. So it's a pretty accurate number, I believe.
And you've got, and the thing about the Western Heritage Center is that there is not anyone on the payroll. Everyone who participates at the Western Heritage Center, which is open Wednesday through Sunday, is a volunteer. This makes it a very unique visitor center, welcome center for the town of Prescott.
That's correct. We wouldn't be able to do what we've accomplished if we had a paid staff. And the other thing is, this wouldn't have happened at all if we weren't able to get the space on Whiskey Row, because I told these various people that if we were a block or two off the plaza, we wouldn't be able to rely on the foot traffic that we see. So it was going to be on somewhere on the plaza or not at all.
Right.
And fortunately, everything worked out. Just everything came together at the right time, and it's been an unbelievable ride since then.
And it's not, and people, we should paint a picture for our listeners. The Prescott's Western Heritage Center is not in a big high rise. It's not in a big modern glass building. It's actually in a historic building, in a historic space on Whiskey Row. It's the Sam Hill Warehouse, and this space was built after the great fire of Prescott of 1900. So we're in a building that dates to 1901 with the beautiful tin ceilings and right in it. So when you walk in the front door, you know you're in a historic space to start with. Isn't that right?
That's right. And wanted to mention that we've never had to hire a contractor except for painting the ceiling and some of the walls. All of the exhibit spaces were built by our volunteers. So here again, we wouldn't have been able to accomplish what we've accomplished if we had had to hire contractors to build all of the exhibit spaces. Because one reason, we would have to be writing change orders every day. So we wouldn't be able to afford that. So our volunteers, for the first part of 2019, that's what we were doing, is in there building exhibit spaces. And then we were fortunate enough to open up May 16th, I think, 2019. Now we're up to between 50 to 55 volunteers, everywhere from mercantile to greeters to docents to, we've got a fantastic group of people that perform skits and historical reenactments.
Educational tours?
15 to 20. We do tours. We also do many events for children, including field trips. And then these people that do the skits and historical reenactments do these all over town. And we've been working with YEI quite a bit, Yavapai Exceptional Industries. And they've been in a couple times, and we've been to their facility a number of times to put on skits, and they just love it. And then we go to adult homes here around Prescott. So there's something going on all the time.
And when you walk in the front door, your staff, the volunteers, are all dressed most in Western wear, many of them in 19th century, early 20th century reenactment costumes. Mm-hmm. And they will give the visitors a special tour and to see the different exhibits that range from an exhibit on the world's oldest rodeo to mining history to railroad history to history of Western film in Prescott, and then exhibits for that are shared from the local museums, from Sharlot Hall Museum to the Phippen Museum to the Museum of Indigenous Peoples, the Cowboy Poets gathering here in Prescott. So it's really quite a variety that highlights our local charities. I shouldn't leave out the Yavapai County Cowbells and the Yavapai County Cattlemen's Association. You've got a wide variety of local nonprofits that support history and heritage and allow people to get a taste of those exhibits, a taste of the history before visiting those museums here in Prescott.
Right. I liken it to like a sampler plate. Every 8 or 10 feet is a different organization or private collection, and so we try to rotate some of the museums occasionally or update them so that it remains fresh. It's very interesting. These people come in from all over the world. We see a lot of European visitors, but also visitors from Asia and Australia, and of course Mexico and Canada. So we see an amazing number of foreign visitors.
Well, let's take one more break here, and we're going to come back and talk about what people can expect when they come down to the Western Heritage Center right now in Prescott, down on Whiskey Row, and learn about some upcoming events as well. We'll be right back with Dennis Gallagher, our guest from the Western Heritage Center in Prescott, Arizona. If you're looking for the store that has everything, Prescott True Value Hardware might be your answer. From having that part to fix that leaky faucet to decorating your garden with charm, they've got it all, and a friendly face to match. For over 30 years, they've proudly served Prescott, supporting neighbors like you and local nonprofits along the way. Visit Prescott True Value Hardware. They're more than just a hardware store. This is Stuart Rosebrook on Arizona Roundup at Sharlot Hall Museum, and my special guest today is Dennis Gallagher. And in the break, we were talking a little bit about how the Western Heritage Center helps inspire visitors to branch out and see all the special places, the museums and different heritage organizations here in the Prescott area and also in the county. Dennis, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yes, we believe that it's our duty to share as much information about our history and heritage with everyone as we can. So when visitors are in the center, we point out the various museums and organizations and events that are coming up. And if they're only up here if they're on a day trip from Phoenix or something, they don't have time to go out to the Sharlot Hall Museum or the Phippen or Museum of Indigenous People, things like that. We have information there. We've got brochures. We talk to them about the various organizations and suggest that they visit them if they have time, or when they come back, they make a special effort to visit those facilities.
Well, I think that's one of the great partnerships here that has made the Western Heritage Center so successful for Prescott, and right around the corner from the Chamber of Commerce. I know that Western Heritage Center works very closely with the Chamber on their walking tours, and is one of the first stops from people after they stop at the Chamber of Commerce. They're on Goodwin, stop in at the Western Heritage Center and kind of get a lay of the land of what's happening here in Prescott and what's going on. I know we have the center always has a lot of brochures on historic events happening in the community, and that the Western Heritage Center is also sponsors lectures and special events for people to attend. And so, Dennis, talk a little bit about some of that, including some of the documentaries that the museum has been involved with.
Well, some of the events coming up include the Teddy Roosevelt show at the Elks Theater. That's coming up on March 29th. We also have a dinner associated with that upstairs in the Crystal Hall, but that has been sold out for weeks. But the show in the theater itself, there's still tickets available. And then April 26th, we've got casino night at the Elks Crystal Hall. That's always a very fun event, and I think there's like 50 tickets left for that one. In June 22nd, we've got Murder Mystery Dinner Theater at the Hazeltine. And then I think it's August 16th, I believe. It's the Doc Holidays event that we've got going for the second year. And then September 27th at the Grand Highland Hotel and Courtyard, we've got Boots on the Row, which is going to be our primary fundraiser this year. And that's going to be a lot of fun, indoor and outdoor, September 27th. Regarding the documentary, we did a documentary a couple of years ago on the Rough Riders from Prescott to Cuba, and we showed that during the Teddy Roosevelt show at the Elks last year. This year, we've got Mike Rodriguez, and the team has completed another documentary on Teddy Roosevelt, A Journey of Healing, his time in Medora, North Dakota, during his ranching time there. Excuse me. And that's going to be shown at the Teddy Roosevelt show on March 29th. It's very well done. We've Mike has been up in Medora for a couple of weeks in the summer filming, and has done some work down here at Sharlot Hall Museum and other locations. And it's excellent, about a 29-minute documentary.
This is really exciting, Dennis, and I believe. And how can people learn more about it? Is there a website people can go to learn more about these upcoming events?
Yes, our visit whc.org is the website. And I think there's a location on there. You can also request a newsletter that we put out every 2 months that lists all the events, plus a lot of other information. And then we have information at the center regarding all of the events.
And people can become members of the Western Heritage Center through the website, or going down to the, if you want to join the Western Heritage Center and get on your mailing list, that's, again, was it visit whc.org? Is that correct?
That's correct. And there's, you can go on the website, or we've got a QR code on some documents in various locations where they can photograph that and go directly to the website. And membership, you can sign up at the center, or you can go to the website and sign up. It's a very nominal fee, and it's really a good program, and it helps us keep the doors open.
Well, that's great, Dennis. Now, let's talk a little bit about, if I had to tell people about some of my favorite objects down at the Western Heritage Center, and I'm going to ask you what some of your favorites are. I will say that I love the roulette, the historic roulette wheel that's on loan at the Western Heritage Center from Debbie Dunbar and the Palace. Her father was the former owner of the Palace. And there's the phone booth that was used in the film Junior Bonner, which is a fan favorite. When you're working there volunteering, you can see lots of people and lots of young people go and sit in the phone booth, and what it was like to make a phone call from that historic phone booth that used to be in the Palace Restaurant and Saloon. And of course,
everyone should. Oh, go ahead.
No.
Everyone should know that your dad wrote the screenplay for that movie, and you were in it, or you were there. So I think that's very important information to get out there.
Yeah, my father, Jeb Rosebrook, was the screenwriter, and it was filmed in 1971 in Prescott. And one of the former board members of Western Heritage Center, Bill Pierce, was one of the cornerstones of bringing that film here to Prescott. And one of the great things about working and volunteering down at the Western Heritage Center that I've witnessed is just watching people as they walk through and express their interest in the different exhibits, and ask questions of the docents who are all trained to walk people through the exhibits. And if you had one or two exhibits down at the museum or down at the Western Heritage Center, Dennis, what would you what's one of your favorites or two of your favorites that you like people to stop and pause and take a look at?
I think the Rough Rider exhibit is phenomenal, and the fact that most people don't realize that Troop A was formed here, and it doesn't seem to make much sense that Troop A was formed in Arizona, and they were going to be sent to a war in Cuba. But we've got a significant number of memorabilia and things from 1898, Rough Rider.
Yeah, it's definitely something to see. I love going down there and just standing at the different exhibits, and it never gets old to go down to the Western Heritage Center and find out what new is up on the walls, or what a new donation or exhibit of some historic items on loan from a local family. And
the history of film exhibit is phenomenal too, I think, and probably within the next few months we'll be changing that all out, bringing in new posters and so forth. But Yeah, people need to see that and understand that Prescott had a movie studio here in 1912.
That's right. This is
And
where filmmaking started in Arizona, long
yeah,
before Old Tucson and Monument Valley. This is where it started, and Tom Mix was the big star.
highest paid actor in Hollywood for a number of years in the 20s, I believe.
That's exactly right. Well, Dennis, we are going to have to plan to have you back on Arizona Roundup, and maybe we'll come back in early summer and hear about some of the exciting things happening down on Whiskey Row at Prescott, Arizona's Western Heritage Center. And I want to thank Dennis Gallagher for being our guest today, and we will come back in a couple of months and bring you back, Dennis, and find out what's happening for the summer down there. Thanks for being our guest today.
Thank you, Stuart. Really appreciate it.
All right. That's it for this week's Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook at Sharlot Hall Museum. If you're looking for the store that has everything, Prescott True Value Hardware might be your answer. From having that part to fix that leaky faucet to decorating your garden with charm, they've got it all, and a friendly face to match. For over 30 years, they've proudly served Prescott, supporting neighbors like you and local nonprofits along the way. Visit Prescott True Value Hardware. They're more than just a hardware store. Looking for a fun educational outing? Sharlot Hall Museum isn't just a history display, it's an experience. From the Prescott Indians Art Market to Charlotte's Cellar, living history adventures, author presentations, and lecture series, there's something for everyone. Uncover the past and create new memories today. Visit charlottehallmuseum.org to see our full event lineup. That is charlottehallmuseum.org.
Well, that's a wrap, folks, and thank you for joining us for Arizona Roundup. Again, you have more information, more education, more inspiration. You'll learn more here by accident than most places by design. And yes, remember, this is from Prescott, Arizona, the mile-high cowboy city. And we welcome you to our cowboy, our Western experience. Make sure if you're in the arena, in the area, that you make it to beautiful Prescott, Arizona. And of course, stop in at the Sharlot Hall Museum and perhaps make your way around town and tell some of our great sponsors how much you appreciate them putting on Arizona Roundup for all the people who love the great stories of the Western way of life. My name is Stan. I'm the radio man. This is brought to you by the Cowboy Spirit Radio Network. And if you'd like to know how you could be a sponsor on this program or perhaps have your own program, just reach out to me at stan@witradio.net, stan@witradio.net. We are what it takes, and we are here to help you do what it takes to make life work for you, your business, and of course, right here, the Western way of life. So, again, ride tall, be safe, do good work, and occasionally do a little cowboy blessing for one another. Till next time on Arizona Roundup, bye for now.